A lot of things have changed in my life. One thing that's been consistent since I was little is I just feel a strong connection to being out in nature. I feel the sense of solitude and peace. And I just feel such a strong connection. The change in the seasons and the way that nature interacts, you can see that struggle. You can see things die and come back to life. A lot of my pictures have a theme of struggle turn into beauty. And that's like so much of my life. Like I cling to that stuff. I cling to it. When I was growing up, when I was younger, I could not sit still, even for a minute. Like it was just go, 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 go. Every season that there was sports going on, I was playing sports. I was running around with friends, riding my bike. Growing up, that's really where I felt the most purpose and the most connection to life, was what I could get into physically, the way my body interacted with the world. I had big dreams. I wanted to climb huge mountains. I wanted to climb like Mount Everest. And that's when I started to ski a lot. And it was one night in February 2002 where it was an icy night and we built this big jump, and we're all being teenagers, just trying to outdo each other, flying off these jumps. And I remember right before I went off, I just gave this hoot. I was like, woo! Something didn't feel right. And I ended up getting turned around in the air. I was probably 20 feet in the air, and I came down and landed right on my head. And instantly, as soon as I hit the ground, I couldn't feel or move anything below my neck. And I was just sliding down the hill as stiff as a board. I knew I had done something serious, and I instantly started feeling these feelings of regret and being like, oh, if only I could go back and not do that. I ended up going unconscious, and I woke up in the hospital 2 days later with the doctors telling me, you broke 2 bones in your neck, one of the bones sliced into your spinal cord, and the damage was really severe. So obviously for a very active 16-year-old where all I knew was like how to go, 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 it seemed to be the end for me. This would start the most difficult struggle in my life. After I got hurt, within a few weeks or a few months, I started to be able to twitch. That gave me a lot of hope. As time went on, I started to regain a little bit in my arms and a little bit more in my legs. And so I started to get real pumped. I'm like, okay. Like, this is just like, I've been injured many times in my life. Like, this is it. Like, I remember thinking, all right, this is my story. It's gonna be Brian makes full recovery and nobody knows anything different. Like, he just, for 6 months or a year or whatever, he was in a wheelchair and he got up. And so that's what I clung to that. But as the years went by, I had plateaued. I went to the doctors and they're like, you are so fortunate to have regained anything, to be up on your feet and to get around. But it started to really sink in, like, this is gonna be permanent. This is something I'm gonna have to deal with for the rest of my life. And so when that realization started sinking in and I started realizing you're not gonna be able to do the things you used to do in the same way, I started to get to a really low point. I lost passion for where I was in life, for the future, and I kind of felt lost, completely lost. And then it was just one day, in pretty much a moment, I made a decision. I just started to feel like life is too important to sit here day after day, feeling sorry for myself because of how my body worked physically. I'm like, if you don't change this, you're gonna go on indefinitely feeling this way. Like, there's something for you. And I can't do a lot of things I used to do, but there still has to be something I can find. I can put my energy into, find purpose, find some passion. And that day, that became my mission. And in order to do that, I felt like the best way was just to leave. Like, leave it all. Leave my family, leave my friends, leave everything I'd ever been taught. Just go somewhere and start new. Like, literally start new. And I decided, I knew I wanted to go somewhere warm. It just kept sticking out to me, Hawaii, and like those islands, it's like a dream place. I told my friends, I told my family, and they thought I was crazy. They're just like, dude, you can barely get around, you don't know anybody. What are you gonna do? You barely have any resources. Like, no, this is insane. You can't do this. But I knew like I needed to do something. I needed a big change. I don't think any of them realized like how difficult the situation got for me. In 2007, I left and went to Hawaii to start on this trip to just find something more in life. As soon as I got to the Big Island, I had this idea. As soon as I get there, I would find what I was looking for and everything would be glorious. And it's like, oh, I'm in the island and I found what I'm looking for. But it doesn't work like that. I got all this way, I go like 3,000, whatever, 6,000 miles away. And I still felt the same as when I left. But my one determination was not to go home. And things got really difficult. But the fear of staying the same outweighed the fear of this change. So I just dove into it. I ended up meeting a guy named Jason. Jason was a little bit older than me, and he kind of went to Hawaii for the similar reasons, like to get away, to start new. And he saw me trying to get around the islands, and he saw that I was having a difficult time. And he just took it upon himself, and he came up to me one day. He was like, hey man, I see you're having trouble getting around. Like, do you want me to show you around the islands? And so he kind of showed me the ropes, and we became really good friends. This is when I started to develop like a sense of freedom because of the kindness of a stranger. He was an artist, and he just had a little sketchbook, and he would always be making art. And I absolutely admired his art. Like, I would look through it, and it's just really cool, little colorful drawings. And he kept bugging me, hey dude, you should try making art. I would always be just like, dude, I am not artistic in the least bit. Not only that, but my hands, I can barely move my hands. He'd ask me all the time. And finally I got to the point where he kept bugging me, and I started getting a little bit frustrated because I'm like, he has no idea, like, I can't do this. I finally was just like, dude, okay, you want to see me make art? All right, this is what I got. And I picked up a marker and I held it in my hand like that. And in my frustration, I was just like, this is what I got. And I started making dots. within that first 2 minutes, my frustration that I had about the situation transformed, and I could feel something special. I could feel it like it was bigger than me. It was something deep. I had never felt anything like it before. It was like I needed to eat, sleep, shelter, whatever you need for a living, and I needed to make dots. I was just so excited that I found this thing. There was always that little bit of doubt, like I'm going on this mission to find something, but is there really something? It started to develop into such a passion that it was more so than anything that I had done before I got hurt. And over the years, it's like something as simple as this dot started to transform my life, started to teach me things. I spent about 2 years in Hawaii, making pictures, trading pictures for food or whatever the heck. But I longed for a place to call home. So I ended up leaving the Big Island. And I still had this adventurous spirit, so I was traveling all over the country. I started to go to art festivals and art galleries and music festivals, and just seeing how do I get this out there. I sometimes wish I could see what my art looks like through other people's eyes, because I sit there with a piece for months. They look at it and be like, oh wow. And then they'd go up and look close and just be like, oh God. Sometimes people are brought to tears. And I think that's one of the reasons why I felt such a deep connection to making dots when I first started, is because of the potential that it had to connect with people. It's helped give me a greater love and understanding for people and for myself. It's been through traveling around the country, doing these shows, meeting people, laughing with people, crying with people, sharing joy, sharing hardships, people that 10 minutes earlier I didn't even know. And there we are. Since I started making it, I had been getting a lot of recognition. This is when I started to think, okay, I can do this professionally. When I started making art, I had no idea about art. I didn't know any of these artists. I didn't know what pointillism was. But now it's just this is life. This is how we're doing it. 27 million dots in 12 years. And each one of those became a way of life. When I started to regain function, I had this goal, and I was like, a year from now, I'm gonna go walk through the mall and nobody is gonna know anything happened to me. And that was gonna be my story. Brian makes full recovery. No one knows anything different. And that's the only hope that I had, was regaining my physical ability, because I needed to go climb Mount Everest. I needed to climb these mountains. There was no other option. It's embarrassing how much I cared that was going to be my headline, and how much I cared that people wouldn't notice. One of the cool things that making dots started to change in me is to stop connecting so much to my physical ability and to find something even deeper, something that is more important to me than my physical ability, honestly. I'm so grateful for everything that has led me to where I am right now, that I literally wouldn't change anything. I'm thankful for that accident. I'm thankful for every single thing along the way, because it's led me to a point where I have a passion for life, and I wouldn't trade anything for the experiences that this has brought me to. Through making dots and making art, I kind of created my own mountains. I haven't learned how to climb physical mountains, but when I complete a picture, it honestly feels like I climbed to the top of a mountain. I learned my mistakes are not the end. Like, difficult times and suffering and these things that seem so difficult in the moment are not the end. And a lot of times I feel like it's fertile soil for something new and something even more beautiful and even more unique. And that's all through something as simple as I made one dot, then another, then another, then another. That's my headline. There's always another dot.